Okay, so have you done the math? I mean, the real math. See, if you have, let's say, 4 hours a day of so called free time, you multiply that by the years you've been an adult. And for me, I'm 44, so it would be like around 35,000 hours. That's huge. And that's enough to that's enough time to master at least 10 skills. And I mean master skills. It's enough to build a career, to build a body, which obviously I didn't, and a legacy. And yet, look at your own hands. What did you build with the hours? Are you the person you wanted to be 15 years ago? Maybe you're like me and you meant to learn the guitar, you meant to write a book or start that channel on YouTube that you never did. You meant to change careers, move abroad. You had time, you had more than enough of it, but it just drifted. And time doesn't fly. We just forgot to hold it. See, you spent half of your life trading time for security, a job, a salary, stability. You tell yourself you'll use the leftover hours for the real stuff later. But later never comes. I've been a nurse for the last 20 years now. I had 15 different jobs, and maybe you haven't worn scrubs but I mean, you've done the same thing. You've given away your time to systems, companies, routines. And in nursing, time isn't yours. It belongs to the fragile, the broken, the dying. You lend your hours to keep others alive. And when you work out at sunrise, exhausted, you realize that you gave another piece of your life to someone else's clock. And if you've ever wondered why you're tired all the time, even when you sleep, it's because your life isn't being lived, it's being leased. We live in a world that worships productivity. Every book, every app, every podcast screams, do more. But have you ever stopped to ask, more what? You've been conditioned to believe that being busy means being alive, that the measure of your worth is your output. But what if productivity isn't the opposite of laziness? What if it's just a prettier word for fear? Fear of stopping, fear of silence, fear of realizing how many of your choices were driven by anxiety, not passion. I used to open 100 tabs a day, notes about startups, side hustles, travel vlogs, apps I built one day. And the dopamine hit of a new idea felt like progress. But ideas without action are just potential energy rotting in your mind. And maybe you know that feeling, that little voice whispering, I could have been more. You're not lazy, you're just scattered. The modern world has turned into distraction It has turned distraction into an ecosystem, and your focus, your I struggle with this word, I'm sorry. Your focus is its fuel. See, 4 hours a day, that's roughly 1,4600 hours a year. And you spend them between screens. I know, I do the same. I'm not gonna lie, if I show you my time screen, I spend 6 to 8 hours a day on my phone. That's crazy. And you didn't waste those hours out of malice. You were just tired most of the time. You wanted comfort, escape. And the world gave you infinite escape at zero resistance. Time time doesn't vanish. It gets absorbed by convenience. Every scroll, every video, every I'll do it tomorrow quietly compounds. And one day you wake up and you realize that the person you were supposed to become has already aged. And I know that because 44. And you can't build your dream life if you're living on autopilot. And I live on autopilot every day, because I don't like my job. So I just activate the autopilot mode so that the day just goes by and that I can go back to my distractions and hope that one day I will take actions to actually turn those distractions into actions. Look at your child, if you have one, or maybe your little brother or sister if you're too young for that. And maybe think of your younger self. They don't need perfect plans, they just need presence. That kind of attention can't be automated. My son plays chess. He's focused, he's patient. And watching him, I realized that I'd lost something he still has. It's single-minded curiosity, not multitasking, not content, just curiosity. And the hours you lose aren't stolen, they're surrendered. So I thought wandering was failure, but maybe it was incubation. Every so-called detour you take, every half-finished project, every job you left, every idea that collapsed, it all becomes raw material for the next version of you. You've learned more from what didn't work than from what did work for you. You just haven't assembled the pieces yet. That's something I often say to my son. You learn by your mistakes, not your successes. Because if you succeed, you can succeed by luck, by just opportunities. But every time you fail, it's because you took actions, and you can learn from your mistakes and correct that in order to get the great result. See, for years I bounced between passions, many passions, many. Photography, writing, crypto, AI, design, ukulele. Name something that can be a passion. And I just, at some point, I had some interest into that. And I thought it made me unfocused. At some point, I think it did. But now I see that it made me adaptable. The modern world punishes wanderers, and it rewards specialists. But the future belongs to the ones who can reinvent themselves. If you spent decades wandering, maybe you weren't lost. Maybe you were collecting tools for the moment you'd finally start building. So don't regret the years you've used to find directions. They gave you a map. So here's the truth. The truth. You can't get time back, obviously. Not the hours, not the people, sadly. Not the chances you ghosted, but you can still shape what's ahead. The next hours are still yours.